People often ask me, what does AMEE do in between the conferences? What activities are there that I can be engaged in when the conference isn't happening? One of those activities is the Best Evidence Medical Education Group, BeMe, which is chaired by my colleague and past president of AMEE, Professor Madalena Patricio. Madalena is going to tell us a little bit now about BeMe, and first of all, Madalena, welcome along, and please tell us what BeMe is.
Oh, John, thank you so much, because this opportunity is very important. BeMe is a group of international, individual, institution, organizations, schools, all those who are interested in promoted evidence-based education, because we can't stay on having education just based on opinion. A little bit like Cochrane from medicine, the same role we are trying with BeMe to provide support to the schools when they have to decide about education in their daily practice, in decisions about curriculum and so on. So this is BeMe, is to look for evidence to support the best education possible.
I can see the importance of that, and you've described it very neatly. It's so easy for people to be perpetuating the same educational techniques which they learn themselves or experience themselves as undergraduates, and then the same thing happens again and nothing really changes. And as you say, people have a hunch or an opinion, or just that's what they think is the only way to do something. So this is exciting, Madalena, and I think it has a role. How do you implement this? How do you carry out this BeMe review?
This is indeed very, very exciting, but I have to say, and I will speak enthusiastically as you can imagine, and I will explain that it's difficult at the same time, because BeMe, contrarily to Cochrane with medicine, BeMe is a human science, so we have to count on the role of the confounding variables. For instance, it's easy, let's say, to find the effects, for instance, of aspirin with a control and an experimental group for a certain therapeutic or so on. But it's much more difficult to understand what may function, what is effective in BeMe, because you can have a lecture and you have the contents, the slide, everything, but you give it to another person, to another professor, and the effects may not be the same, because you have the charisma, the clarity, the empathy, many other factors that are not present in an aspirin, you know. So we need to understand that it's more difficult. But you ask how we do it. So from all over the world, we are receiving proposals for going on and presenting proposals for systematic reviews. BeMe accepted many types of reviews, not only the systematic ones. I think per excellence, the one BeMe is most known and we do more is those one. But we do not reject, for instance, a narrative review, a realist review, and so on. But let's more talk about the systematic reviews. We have a system in BeMe, and anyone with a team can propose a title for a systematic review. We call this step as registering a topic. It's a very short 2 pages or so, where you explain your title, why it's important, what is the situation regarding this knowledge, and then what are the possible implications for practical and for research and your team. This is the beginning. So then you have 3 months for presenting if accepted, it's registered and kept for you. And in 3 months you present a protocol, which more developed. And then in a year you have to present a full manuscript. So it's more or less around this. In this work, it's essential the collaboration of the BICs. The BICs are the BeMe International Collaborative Centers, who guide the teams of authors. They give feedback, and they are along all the process from the beginning, since the topic is registered, until the end with the full manuscript. And the BICs are, let's say, reporting and being supported and working with the BeMe Editorial Committee. The BeMe Editorial Committee that was shared by Maurice Gordon until now, and now the handover is for Michel Daniel from the Michigan University, and Maurice is from Oakland. They are the key, let's say this board is the key structure to support all the handling process.
Good.
Okay.
So a person or an institution can come with an idea that they want to write a systematic review on a topic which interests them, and that topic is being vetted, isn't it, really, by the BICs?
Yes, and let me also say something. When you do this, you never do a systematic review alone, or you can. It's always we need to be a team, because it's. Even in the name, we are called BeMe, but it's BeMe Collaboration. It's implicit this, and of course anyone can. And going to the BeMe website, if you put BeMe Collaboration, it's appear in the Google very easily, and you have everything explained there, how you can submit and so on. And then everything goes through the BeMe Review Committee, and it's the BeMe Review Committee that allocate the persons in the BICs and so on. All the system goes on.
See, it sounds very much a fail-safe system, and I'm sure that people will be interested to know that international collaboration, international body that makes up your team, because this means it's not just an opinion of westernized medicine. There are people from other educational backgrounds and medical backgrounds have a say in how the process develops. And
there is another thing that I think it's this opportunity is great to tell to people. It's true that BeMe is very exigent, and we wanted high quality in the reviews, but we provide a strong support.
As well.
This is not the same thing with journals. When you submit something to the journal, then you receive feedback, okay, accept it, or accept it with major, but you are alone to do it. Yeah. And with BeMe, we are committed, and since the beginning there is feedback, and if your protocol is accepted, and you are able to fulfill what you said you are going to do with the support of the BICs and the BeMe Review Committee, you are sure that it will be published in Medical Teacher, and also in the AMEE website, in the BeMe website, and so on. So this is an enormous, how can I say, benefit for people people can be investing, but they know that the end will be successful.
So it's very impressive, and I think it like you say, the writers are informed and know that it's going to be accepted, but it's a very authoritative piece of work when it's been produced with this collaboration. And collaboration was the main word I think you wanted to emphasize there.
Yes.
So what form do the publications take?
The publication, I think I might be, I think it's 12,000 words, and it's an article, it's published in Medical Teacher, and then there are a spotlight of 2 pages, also in Medical Teacher. Then the full publication goes to the BeMe website also. And talking about Medical Teacher, it's probably important to say two results from last year that I have just had assessed with from the report of the Medical Teacher editorial board. And one is that the most cited article last year in 2018 was a BeMe systematic review. It was a BeMe systematic review. It was a BeMe guide on interprofessional on the effects of interprofessional education. And among the top 10 papers more downloaded last year, we also have 2 BeMe guides, which is fantastic. I think this shows us how important the readers value the BeMe guides in the Medical Teacher journal.
This is a very authoritative resource, go-to resource, isn't it? If you want to learn a lot about evidence-based medicine, for instance, I think you mentioned before, then this would be the resource to go to find out the state-of-the-art way of developing that. So this is very important for us to know, isn't it, as educationists, wherever we are. That's very interesting. So that's where you are and what you're doing at the moment. What's going to happen with BeMe over the next year or 2 years, you think?
We are in a very, very, I think, important moment for many reasons. Not only from the practical, let's say, structure of BeMe, because we just introduced changes, and from now on we will have an executive committee, and not only the board with the board is represented by the members of the board are representatives of the bigs, but we only meet 1 year and we were a large number. And it was probably difficult for operational reasons, but now we have an executive also with the presence of some big representatives with 5-6 persons, not more, and I think much more can happen because they are pushing, and they are pushing in different directions. And just for give you 2 examples, and they just started this year for the first time, we put forward a grant for the national health system, and it's a BeMe review to test the effects of interventions regarding antibiotics and so on. So it's a very, very important grant if we get it, but at least we are starting that way. This year also, for the first time, we introduced a BeMe award. So we looked at all the 10 reviews published this year, and one, but is the decision is given this afternoon at after the short communication sessions on the BeMe, and we have this award. So many directions are starting to go, but I think that our main role needs to continue to be focused in the review process and have more quality on it. Let's say we need to be able to produce BeMe systematic reviews with implications to practice. We cannot end a BeMe review by saying more research is needed. We really need to go into the, how do you say, in the depth, to understand what function for whom and where and when in medical education.
How it can be applied, I suppose.
Yes, this is very, very important, and it's the future, I think.
This is very, very interesting for us all to hear about, Madalena. Thanks for explaining it. I think it's important just to know, from what you said, just to summarize, there's really 2 aspects to this. As a medical educationist, I may want to find out an authoritative position from one of your systematic reviews, and I would go to a BeMe online or to a BeMe publication.
BeMe online, BeMe in the medical teacher journal, and so on. But they can also address us. I can give the link, but it's easiest if you find it, and very easily you contact us, or if they need, we organize a Skype or something to explain and to start a dialogue. Because people to collaborate with BeMe, they don't need to be a big. They can start collaborating and they can ask to be reviewers, or they can ask to be integrated in a team, or found many other ways. It's just we are open.
So the first thing is that I would find information on a topic I wanted to learn about in the way, and then if I wanted to initiate a review of a particular interest, then I would send in the proposal like you suggested.
Yes, and if you wanted to do so, it would be always great to consider in your team someone that is familiar with BeMe. It would be the ideal, but at least with Cochrane and so on, because we can benefit a lot. And I didn't talk, but we are also concerned with this possibility of start training people, or to produce reviews, or to review reviews. And at the AMEE, during the AMEE, we have a course before the conference called PASREV. PASREV is practical skills for reviewing evidence in healthcare profession. And so we have run this for 3 years, last year no, but for the last 3 years. And we have also a conference workshop, and we will try in the future to do much more, to give, let's say, an opportunity to develop competencies in this domain.
Thank you. This is all very interesting. I'm concerned that BeMe perhaps isn't so well known within the AMEE fold, and certainly perhaps not by listeners out with AMEE, but it's such an important role and activity which is going on, and I think it deserves more publication, more more advertising, as it were.
Probably it's also my fault as I'm the chair, but we need to find this, and it's dramatic because during the conference I use always the breaks, and sometimes I'm talking with people, and where are you going, where are you, what are you going to see, and sometimes they said, and do you plan to attend any BeMe sessions or so on, and no one knows, but it's the same. I think this is a problem of some activities of BeMe, because the same appears with Aspire and others. You know, we need to make these activities more visible, probably.
Right. And that's maybe a take-home message, in fact.
Oh, yes.
To answer my question, what does AMEE do between the conferences? The answer is a lot of things, which are really high stakes, really important, really scholarly, and we're slightly unaware of those things, but in fact they are cutting edge and very, very important.
Very, very important. And I'm just wondering, when waiting for this interview, I was sitting in the hall, and when I arrived there were 120 people that probably chose the plenary room to work a little bit, waiting because it was lunchtime. Why not to have information on those things running out and so on? I think we need to make efforts to spread this BeMe, Aspire, all the things, because this is so important to advance education.
Thank you very much for speaking to us and making that so clear, and we'll look out for BeMe activities on another day before the next conference.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madalena.
Thank you.